My name is Jane Meyer. And again, I want to welcome you to SCORE Central Jersey. Our webinar for this morning is Transforming Your Business Plan into Action. We always talk about business plans, but then we don't often, then maybe it just sits in a drawer someplace and we never touch it again. So we're going to talk about the second half of your business plan. And we're excited for that. If you're not familiar with SCORE, I'd like to introduce you to SCORE. We're a nationwide organization of volunteers, and we're a resource partner with the Small Business Administration. So our mission is to help small businesses, whether you're just thinking about starting a business, whether you have a business idea and you're ready to get started, whether you're already in business and you might need some help with finances or marketing or some aspect of your building business, we're here to help you. We have chapters all across the USA, and we have, right now, I think we have about 13,000 mentors, so our membership is growing. So if you have a specific issue or a topic that you need help with, we can usually find someone that has expertise in your area. Our website is centraljersey.score.org. Our chapter covers Middlesex, Somerset, and Hunterdon counties, but we're all very virtual these days. So you don't have to be in any of those counties to work with our members. We work in 3 ways. We offer webinars or seminars in person when COVID isn't around, and we do those mostly for free. Sometimes there's a very small charge, but we offer webinars like today for anyone, any small business owner that would like to attend. We also have lots of resources. You can go to our website, you can find resource information, templates, probably about almost any topic, any small business topic you can think of, we have some resources for that. And the resources are for free. So check out the website and dig around. There's webinars, there's articles, there's templates, all kinds of business resources. And then I think the most important thing that we do is mentoring. We pair you with 1 or 2 of our chapter mentors who are business and do some mentoring with you. We're excited to have as our speaker today, Raj Godbray. Raj is a well-qualified, he's a management consultant. He has his MBA in entrepreneurship, so he loves small businesses and helping small business people. He's certified as an entrepreneurship educator. And probably most importantly, Raj, he's a certified SCORE mentor, one of our chapter members. And we're just very happy to have him in our chapter. His SCORE email is below. And so if you need to get in contact with him afterwards, you can do that. You can put your questions in the Q&A or the chat area, and Raj will answer questions at the end. Raj has agreed to share his slides. So we'll be sending out an email afterwards, probably tomorrow, that will include his slide presentation, so you can refer to that. And we are recording the session. So in a couple, 3 days, you can go to our website, and the webinar recording will be on the website as well. So you have a lot of follow-up resources. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Raj, and you can share your screen and teach us how to execute our business plans.
Yeah, thank you, Jan. And let me share my screen. Let me know once you are able to see it.
And yes, we can see it.
Okay. So good morning, everybody. As Jen mentioned, we are going to talk about implementing your business plan. Many of you might have a business plan ready or you're a startup and formalizing your business plan, or maybe you're a running business and you have a business plan and you annually create it or change it and you want to implement that. So there are some of the well-tested and proven methodologies that we are going to cover about how exactly the business plan gets executed and implemented in the real world. So to start with, I'll just give you a brief background about myself. As Jane mentioned, uh, I've done electronic engineering, and then after that MBA from Babson. I also had done some certifications from Harvard and MIT, and I worked at Intel for 14 years, and after that started my own management consulting firm called Kenovation, and we are helping clients to create strategy, reimagine strategy, execute business plans, and do digital transformations in various different industries. That's a brief background. So let's look at today's topic, converting your business plan idea into action. You might be familiar with business plan and business model concepts. I'm going to quickly touch on these topics and cover some of the components associated with those just to understand what each part of business plan and business model. And then once we look at the what part, we'll dive deep into how to implement it. So as a business, there are various different stages the business goes through. And typically the first two stages are like maybe the startup mode, where like you have some idea and you're working with that idea and trying to then test it out in the market. So you have a problem statement, you feel that the people need this, or they have a need, or they have a problem that they need to solve, and you have a solution in mind, and you work with that idea and try to create a business out of it in a startup mode. Lean startup methodology is a very common methodology used nowadays by startups that helps you create a kind of like a business model called Lean Canvas, and we'll quickly touch over that too, which gives you an idea about how to go about conceptualizing or implementing your idea in the initial stage where you are in the pre-revenue part, in the sense like you're just kind of establishing your business. Once you kind of move that phase and go into the revenue stage, then you are kind of an established business. And in that mode, obviously the challenges are different. You are now more focused about getting more early adopters, getting into the masses and scaling up the business and growing it, right? So there are various different phases in these two initial phases of business. Now, even an established business, if say they want to diversify, they want to introduce a new product, they want to go to a new geographical area, then in that area, they might carry out those operations with the lean startup. So they might have a one division or one particular area of the business which is managing day-to-day existing business operations, and then another part which is like where they are exploring new ideas or new product or new regions and follow a lean methodology to try out those new concepts. So this kind of both the methodologies go hand in hand, but there is a distinct difference. The difference is in the lean startup, you're kind of experimenting with your idea. And whereas in the second stage, you have established, you have proven your idea, and now you are focusing on the scaling up or growth part. So those are at the high level two components that we are going to cover. And we are going to talk about how to execute various different concepts or your strategy in these two phases. So if you look at this lean canvas concept, which was introduced by Ash Maurya in the running lean methodology, it is kind of similar to the business model. If you are familiar with business model concept, business model canvas, introduced by Eric Rice with the Strategizer group. And the lean canvas is very similar to the business model. It gives you the ability to focus on the key components of validating your hypothesis. So in the beginning phase, you are going to focus more on the experimentation. So you know that you are trying to tackle some problems with your product or your solution, or you're kind of satisfying a particular need. So the first column on the left shows you okay, what are the problems that you're trying to handle, one or two or three, and what are the possible solutions you have in mind? Now you need to experiment with this to ensure that these are valid and acceptable by the market. You also need to ensure that your product and solution has a unique value proposition, which then gives you the ability to position yourself or market your solution or product with an unfair advantage. Okay, and then in this area you need to also focus on what are the things you are going to monitor while you are experimenting, while you're trying these different concepts out. And you also are going to test out these methodologies or these experiments through channels, through go to market ideas, maybe through survey, to market analysis, maybe doing some kind of a landing page survey. These are all standard methodologies used in the lean startup. I'm not going to cover those in detail over here. I'm pretty sure there are webinars available on SCORE website for lean startup. But at the high level, the concept is in the startup phase, in the lean startup methodology, you are going to experiment various different ideas and validate your hypothesis. So that's the idea that you're going to work with. And that's the what part during the startup phase. Now, what you're going to validate, there are 5 things that you need to validate in the lean startup, right? Or for any startup or any new idea or any new diversification that you're doing for your existing business. First of all, you need to validate that the problem that you're trying to solve for the people or your customer segment, it's a very valid problem, right? They really have this problem and they are looking for some solutions. So, and when you validate that problem, you also need to find out who are the people who are having this problem and where are they going currently to find solution, because that gives you the ability to understand whom to talk to, where to find your early adopters, where you can do your experimentation, what channels you can use, and validate that the problem that you are trying to solve or the need that you're going to solve really exist. The second thing that you focus on is testing your solution, because you have now identified the problem and you have a solution in your mind for this problem or this need. But do people really need it? Do they really want to accept this as a solution? Do they accept this as a solution? The people who are looking for solutions, do they think that your solution is useful for them? And that has to be done in testing your solution. So that's the second piece of the puzzle. Like, first you validate your problem, that yes, this problem exists, and the second thing is the solution that you have in mind is acceptable as a solution to these people who are having this problem or this need. So these 2 phases are the very critical first 2 phases of your any lean startup activity. It could be, again, as I said, part of a lean startup for a startup company, or it could be a new diversification, new product launch for existing established business. So these phases need to be completed first. Then you need to find out that these people who are ready to accept this as a solution, are they willing to pay for it? Are they willing to buy this solution from you? And what price are they willing to pay? All right, because these are the inputs that are going to give you data that is essential for you to create your business plan. Because in the business plan, you are going to talk about, this is my pricing model, right? At the same time, when you're talking about the pricing point, you also might have to look at what are the other solutions out there and what the prices those solutions are available at. So these are some of the inputs that you need to do: survey, market research, market analysis, to gather the data to create your business plan or your business model. Now, in the lean canvas, you follow this methodology. In your established business, obviously, we will talk about it in more detail in subsequent slides, but it's something similar, but this information is critical. Obviously, here in the startup, it is more going to be like experimental. So you are going to maybe try out different prices. Whereas in your established business, your price points are very well defined. You already know what the market is willing to pay. So those details are maybe there is little, not so much experimentation required, but it's kind of more like a formalization, or maybe little tweaking might be required. But conceptually, it is similar, that you have to have all this information to create your business plan and perfect your business model. So the next one is the solution that you're providing. Is it really working? because we are talking in the startup phase. So you have a concept solution, and maybe in the beginning when we talk about test the solution, you are actually not tested the real solution, but you kind of like maybe discuss the solution or hypothetically propose them what the solution will look like, and then got their feedback. Whereas here in this phase, we are actually have a what we call MVP, which is like a minimum viable product. And then you are going to look at that to decide whether people are really using it, how they are accepting it, what the challenges they are facing, are they happy with it. So that is the next phase related to validating your solution. And once all these phases are done, then you are going to look at, is this entire business model scalable? How big is the market? What is the total addressable market? What is the segmented addressable market that you can address, right? What is the segmented obtainable market? Because like not all the people who are interested in this solution are addressable by you, or they might not be you might not have the ability to address them or contact them to get the obtain them as customers. So you have to really look at these realistic numbers when you are creating your business plan. So because typically if you are watching Shark Tank or any other such kind of programs, if somebody comes with an idea and says that, oh, there are billions of people on earth who are looking for this solution, most of the sharks will say that doesn't tell me anything, because that's like a total addressable market. That's not the number that you can use in your business model or even business plan. You need to have a realistic number. Out of that, those billions of people, what market segment you can address, because you have a geographical constraints, you have financial marketing constraints, you have sales channel constraints. So with that, you have to look at what is addressable, and out of that, what is obtainable in the sense what really you can convert them into your customers. So this market analysis helps you create more realistic plan. And why I'm talking about this topic is whether you are doing it for the startup or whether you are doing it for the existing business, your business plan and your business model need to be realistic. It needs to be implementable, and it needs to be validated, and validated with respect to the hypothesis or the assumptions that you are making, and ensuring that those are true assumptions or validated hypotheses so that you can justify your business plan. So those are the concepts that we need to look at while we are creating the business plan. Now, we talked about the startup thing, but the same concepts apply in your established business plan. The business plan, typically, if you look at any standard business plan template, you will see that it covers these various different topics, right? It has this typical table of contents that are visible in any business plan. It covers like executive summary. It talks about the business, which is like talks about what the problem, what the need you're solving, what exactly your solution is. You are going to do the market analysis, which is what we talked about. What is the total addressable market? What is the total address that you can segment that you can obtain? And then how you are going to do that? And then obviously you have to do your projections based on those segments that you have shortlisted. And then you have to look at the competitive analysis, where you are going to look at who are the other competitors in the same space, what solutions are they offering, how your solution is unique, is different from the solutions which are existing in the market. Why will people come to you or your company to buy your solution rather than going to somebody else? And you have to have this very well defined. So you need to do the market analysis for that and find out these unique advantages that you have with your solution. Then obviously comes the sales and marketing plan. So once you finalize your segment, this is a segment you are going to address. And then how you are going to address it, how you are going to market them. Are you going to use Facebook? Are you going to use Twitter, social media? What kind of social media? Are you going to do TV commercials? Are you going to do maybe local some newspaper commercials? How you are going to market your services or your product? How you are going to convert those? What channels you are going to use? Are you going to have your in-house sales team, or are you going to outsource that? So all those things you need to talk about in your business plan. And these are typical topics which are covered. But all these topics need to again have to have a hypothesis, assumptions, but those need to be validated. There has to be rationale behind it. You need to explain that why you are saying a particular thing, why you are specifying that this is the size of the segment you are addressing, what's the reason behind it, right? So that's how it goes about while creating the sales and marketing plan. And those are going to give you then your monthly projections, your quarterly projections, maybe annual projections for your period that you're covering, maybe 3 years, 5 years. And that's going to be your sales marketing plan. After that comes what we call the ownership and management plan, where we talk about how is the company structured, organization as an organization. What are the pieces? What are the roles and responsibilities of different people who are involved, who are the stakeholders in this business, and what exactly they are going to do, who is going to do what, who is responsible for what, who is accountable for what, who has the ownership for that particular activity. So all that is covered into this management and operation ownership section. Operating plan talks about what we call how you are operating, how are you going to operate, how are you going to cover like your processes, and how you are going to improve those processes over a period of time, or are we going to use any tools, are you going to use any automation associated with those processes. So all that goes into the operating plan, and this all information then help you create the financial projections which go into the financial plan. So this is a typical high level overview of a business plan, and this is typically the topics which are covered. And based on what Jane mentioned to me, we are making an assumption here that your business plan is almost ready, or you have formalized it, and now we need to look at how to implement it. But when we talk about a business plan, and if you have looked at a business plan template, you will see that it's like a 25-30 page or maybe one longer document that gets created as a business plan. And as Jane mentioned many times, it's not used later. Nobody really opens it. Nobody even looks at it. So to overcome that challenge, this business model canvas was introduced. So what this business model canvas does is basically converts your business plan into a one-page document that you can maybe print and put it on the wall, or you can put it in front of you all the time, so that you have clear visibility of different components of your operations, or the key areas that you need to focus on, or the areas that we need to focus on while you are executing your day-to-day activities. And this is the business model, and I presume you guys are aware of it. Again, if not, there are many videos available, I'm pretty sure, on the SCORE webinar about the business model canvas, so maybe you can review that. But typically a business model canvas covers these boxes. The key partners area talks about who are the key external partners that your business relies on, and what are the value that they're bringing to your solution. It might be a piece of your solution, and then you are working on it, you are adding your own value on top of it, but then what value they bring. And then these key partners, how we are going to maintain the relationship that you can rely on them in your business. Because if that chain breaks, then your entire business might be in trouble. So to avoid that, you need to focus on where your raw material is coming, where your raw services or raw kind of components which are coming, which are necessary for you to create your solution or product, and what kind of relationships you have with your partners. Then next box comes, which is about the key activities. So once you get this raw material or activity, you are going to add your own value on top of it, and that value creation is done by you carrying out some key activities on it, right? So for example, if you are running a restaurant, then maybe you are cooking the dishes, and then that adds value. The kind of services that you provide to your customers who are walking into the store or doing takeout, that adds value. So those are some of the key activities which are part of your business, which are creating value for your customers. And then you need to look at those value creating activities, and you also need to ensure that those activities are well defined. You have a well defined process around it, and you need to ensure that these processes are as less dependent on people and more kind of universal, so that, say for example, a particular person is on leave, your business doesn't come in trouble. So you need to have this kind of people independent processes associated with those activities well defined. Then you go into the resources, which are your resources, like for example, what kind of resources you need for running your business. So maybe you have people who are serving customers, your frontline employees, maybe your cashiers, maybe if you're a restaurant again, maybe your kitchen staff. So all those things are key resources. But out of all those key kitchen staff, there might be one or two people who are key, like chefs or the particular people who have very specific recipes, knowledge, or cooking knowledge. Those are key people for your business. So you need to find those out and list those over there. And then next comes the what you call value proposition. Value proposition is the piece which is kind of enables you to connect your solution to the customer. So you have to look at it, and there are various different technologies or concepts which are used here. One is called jobs to be done. It's a very big concept and very popular concept introduced by Harvard professor, which talks about people are not buying items just for the product or any services. They are buying it for something, some job that they want to get it done. And if you can find out what that job is, then you will be able to serve them better. Same thing, like whether your solution is whether it's a pain reliever or whether it's a gain creator. Those are two different types of solutions that are available, right? And if it is a pain reliever, then obviously the needs are more, because if somebody is in pain, they need your solution, they need it. So you have a little bit of an advantage. Then you also obviously have to look at your competitors or market type and value creation we talked about, right? So these are all value creation ideas that you need to focus on. Customer relationship, again, is very important. You need to find out how you're going to do the marketing, how you're going to reach your customers. Channels, again, which channel go-to-market strategy or what go-to-market strategy you're going to use and how you're going to approach the customers. Customer segments, and we talked about it earlier. Who are your customers? What are their personas? What makes them buy your product or service? If you can focus that and understand their psychology, you will be able to provide them better service or better solution that will be more acceptable to them. So these are all some of the key areas that you need to focus on. And this kind of data comes from the business model, but it kind of focuses on the areas that you need to focus on a regular basis. And that's what gets created in this business model. And at the bottom, obviously, you have cost structure and the revenue structure. So that gives you a financial model and tells you where you are from your break-even analysis or your concepts related to your finances for your business. Again, this is high-level concept. This particular business model also gets derived or kind of is based on what we call the business strategy map. For any business you take, there are 4 key areas that you need to be aware of for your business. One is the financial performance of your business, which you need to monitor. You need to have projections, and then you need to track that with your actual results. You also need to have your customer segment, marketing and growth objectives, which you are again coming from your business model and business plan, which you need to track and ensure that you are achieving those. Obviously, there are processes, we talked about it some time back, that are required that will be implemented on day-to-day basis or used on day-to-day basis in your business. And you need to ensure that those are well defined. They are as less dependent on people as possible. You need to ensure that they are executed properly and there is a proper quality maintained for those. And obviously at the bottom of everything is your people and learning, right? So every business need people, and those people who are the people who are working for you, how are you going to educate them? How are you help them be a better person executing the process that you have assigned them? How are you going to develop their skills? And these all need to be part of your business plan. Now, this is again the why I'm calling it a strategy map is because there are 4 different strategies associated with these 4 areas. One is your financial strategy, one is your customer marketing strategy, process strategy, and then people strategy. So these you are going to look at, and all these details are part of your business plan and a business model. Now, once you have all this information defined, now you have to look at how am I going to implement it? How am I going to do that? But before that, you need to convert your business plan or business model into what we call operating model. Now, if you look at the business model and operating model, they are very similar, right? The value delivery chain is the key piece. In the business model also, the main central box was value proposition or value creation. And that piece is the most important piece for any business. How are you creating value? And how are you going to deliver that value to your customers? Because ultimately, customer, when they get a solution or a product, they see some value in that. That's why they buy it. And as probably you know, there is something called perceived value, the value of a particular solution, what is perceived by the customer. Then there is also something called value that is captured by the business, right? And then there is also the cost associated with it. So these are all the 3 pieces which make or define your gross margin or your operating profit margins. And for that, your value, perceived value by the customer of your solution or product has to be more than the value that you are proposing to them. If they feel that they are getting more than what they are paying for, they are going to buy it more easily, right? And obviously your value of creation has to be, the cost of creation has to be less than the value at which you are selling it, the proposed value. So this value delivery chain is the key piece of any business. Now, how you create value or how you bring all other pieces from the business related to the supplier that we talked about, which is your partners. The location is like where you are going to do the business, right? Organization is we talked about the people and roles and responsibilities. The information technology is the part of technology or the tools that you're going to use. So for example, maybe we have decided that you're going to use QuickBooks for your idea related to accounting and finance part tracking, maybe some other software, maybe ERP system for your overall process automation. Then how your management systems are going to work and how you are going to monitor these different pieces which are creating this value. So value creation is the key piece. These other pieces kind of provide the input to this value creation or value delivery chain. And you need to have your tools and management process monitoring these areas so that you ensure that the value gets created by the operating model that you have defined or the business model that you have defined based on the ideas listed out in your business plan. So these are the concepts at the high level about business plan. But the question comes is, this is all great. This is like all the what part of the equation. What am I going to do? What? But then when we talk about what, the question comes, how are we going to implement it? And that's the topic that we want to cover today in more details. This how part is the critical piece. Thinking of it though is, even though it is important, but it's very simple. And why it is simple is because there is a history associated with that a little bit. There was a professor, Peter Drucker, who introduced a concept called management by objective. And this concept was then later taken by Andy Grove at Intel. And he added a concept of KR, which is called key results. So Peter Drucker introduced the concept of management by objective. And then to that objective part, Andy Grove added concept called key results. And we are going to talk about that in more detail later. But then that's what created what we call OKR, which is objectives, key results, OKR. So those are the 3 terms which are used in implementing any kind of goal or objective, and we are going to look into that. So this concept was used in Intel. As I mentioned, I worked at Intel, so I have used this concept there. John Doerr, who was working at Intel, who was familiar with this concept, later he joined an investment board, and he was an early investor in Google. And in around 2000, he was the early investor in Google when the Google was less than 20 people. And he introduced this concept to the Google founders, saying that, if you want to do the proper management and scaling, maybe you can use this OKR concept. And they liked it, and they experimented with it. They tried and they used it, and it became Google became a very successful company, as everybody knows. And they then talked about how OKR helped them in becoming successful. And because of that, today, this concept is very, very popular. Many companies use it, and large companies as well as startups use it. And this is the concept that we are going to talk about today. So this OKR, as we talked about, has three components. Two main components, and the third one is initiative. We'll cover that. So objective is what talks about where are we going, what exactly we want to do. So maybe your objective could be, I want to improve my sales, right? So we want to grow, we want to increase our sales. That could be your objective. So this statement sets the direction where you want to go. The key results are specific to this objective, which defined how do you know that we are getting there. So when you say that, okay, I want to increase my sales, how would you know that you are going in that direction? So maybe you will say that, okay, I want to increase my sales by 2% first quarter, another 2% next quarter, or you set some kind of a key results that you can monitor, which will tell you that yes, you are moving in that direction where you want to go. So this is what the key result part of the objective comes into picture. And now you have the objective defined, you have the key results defined, but then to achieve those key results, you need to have initiatives, which is like the activities that you are going to do to achieve those results. So when you say that, okay, I want to increase my sales, and then you say that in first quarter, I want to increase it by 2%, how are you going to do that? What are you going to do to achieve that? So maybe I'm going to, ask my salespeople to go and attend more events, or maybe make more cold calls, or what are your activities or initiatives that you're going to do to achieve those key results? Those fall under initiatives. So what should we do to achieve those key results? So those are the three components of objective, key results, and initiatives. Very simple concepts, but if you structure it properly, they really create wonders and results. So we'll look into some of these activities and more details. Now, this initiative part is basically handled as a project, okay? And that's where you kind of allocate, decide like, okay, this is how we are going to do it, and allocate a person or a individual as a project leader for that activity, give him the ownership of it, provide him or her the resources required so that they can execute and deliver the results. And then you have the key results, which are the things that you have provided, that information that you have provided to your people who are executing the project. So they have a target set, what they need to achieve, and they work towards it. And at the end of that phase, you monitor, or even during that activity, you monitor whether they are on the right track, are they moving in the right speed. So that gives you the ability to get the key results. And once you achieve those key results, you move towards your objective. So that's how you kind of break it and try to achieve your objectives. So there is another concept called KPI. Some of you might have heard it, and it is key performance indicator. So KR is key results and KPI is key performance indicator. And there is a difference between those two, and we are going to look at that. So key results depends on your objectives and goals, right? And they are measured about measurements about the advancements that you're making, how you are moving towards your objectives. They track progress towards your objective and in the direction that you're moving, right? And these initiatives help you, the initiatives that we defined, they help you build this or carry out these activities or projects to create build your operating model. The operating model that we looked at in the beginning, that is created using these initiatives. The KPI part is something different. It is something that is used as a key performance indicator to monitor the health of the business. So those are not the results. Those are your day-to-day activities. Those are your business as usual activities that you want to monitor, okay, and ensure that whatever you currently have established is running as per your requirement. So there is a difference between, one is kind of a progress moving, KR is kind of like the moving towards some objective, whereas KPI is like maintaining the reality of that you have today and ensuring that you are not moving away from the reality and keeping it at the level that you have achieved and not going down. So those are the differences between KPI and OKR. So this is the high level picture. The mission, vision, and strategy that comes out of the business model and your business plan. Define your goals. So define your goals for financial objectives, define your goals for your people objective, define your goals for your marketing, sales objectives, define your goals and objectives for your management practices, how exactly you're going to do things and how you're going to build your process structure, your management infrastructure, and your day-to-day activities. And that all is achieved using the objective and key results and initiative side, the right-hand side of this equation. So you build this business using this concept over a period of time, carrying out different initiatives. Once you establish the process, so for example, once you defined your sales activity and the sales process, then you move it to your what we call established process, or your process which is kind of proven working, and you just need to then ensure that it is performing at its optimum level. So then you have a different kind of parameters which are called KPI, which are used for monitoring your performance of established processes. So these are the two tracks that help you build the process, build the business from the business plan based on your strategy and vision and mission. This is at the high level. Now let's look at an example so that it will become clear. So say for example, if I have a goal to going to Boston from Bridgewater, New Jersey, and I want to go there to attend a business meeting in 6 hours from now. And my intent behind attending this business meeting is win a new contract. Now, if you look at it, there are high level 3 objectives: going to Boston, business meeting, and attending business meeting, and then winning a new contract. So if I have to prioritize, these are the 3 objectives, but my main priority is winning the contract, right? And then other ones like the attending business meeting is the second, and then the going to Boston is third. So if I take this as an example of my objective, then my objective is well defined. These are the 3 objectives. What are the key results? Key results is obviously I need to be sure that I have my presentation on the meeting data prepared, so that the meeting will be successful and I'll be able to win the contract. Now, if I'm not able to attend the meeting, at least I can share that information with the client or prospect and might be still be able to win it. But that's a key important result, that I should be prepared for that meeting. Obviously, going to Boston is also essential because in person would be a better option. So then I have to ensure that I start on time, I take the fastest path, and then I can set some key results in between to monitor that how am I performing towards my objective. So I can set that, okay, I need to cross Hartford, Connecticut in 2 hours. I need to maybe hit Mass Turnpike in 2.5. Now, these are kind of like the key results that I need to monitor during my activity. What are the initiative? Initiative is like obviously perfecting the presentation, creating the travel plan with the navigation system, so that I ensure that I take the right route, and if there is a traffic, I change the route and go on the different route which is better, less traffic and has a better chances of me reaching there on time. So those kind of things are the initiatives that I need to take. Now, if you look at it, this idea, what would be the OKRs? The KRs are obviously the navigation system and tracking it, right? Monitoring the progress. The speedometer to ensure that I'm moving at the right speed and best possible speed. Traffic information, if there are any accidents or road traffic jam, I need to know that in advance. Then I also need to have the information coming back from the staff, right? But then if you look at it, all these my key results are specific to my Boston visit, that where I want to go. But then in this case, what the KPIs would be. So the KPIs are the key performance indicator, as we talked about earlier. Those indicators generally do not have anything to do with my Boston visit. They are typically the, what they call your normal operating procedures or processes monitoring. So whether my car is not overheated, I have enough gas in the tank, engine is not in proper condition, engine is not in trouble, it's in good shape, tire pressure. So those are kind of things. Those are not Boston trip specific, but those I need to monitor those indicators because I need to ensure that my car is running properly, right? And I have proper communication. So those kind of things are essential for me to monitor. So that gives you an example of what is the difference between KPI and OKR. Now let's look at a simple example, restaurant. So for example, they are talking about increasing revenue. So the key result could be that increase sales by 5%. So this is how I set a key result, that this is what I want to achieve. Now, how I'm going to do that? So for that, I need to take some initiatives. So I have figured out that my initiatives are, I'm going to train my staff to upscale. I'm going to increase my price of selected items by 5%. So some of these kind of initiatives that I need to take to achieve this key result. And then if I monitor these key results, then I know whether I'm able to achieve the objective. Now, this is one key results, right? There could be other areas, like for example, I can say that increasing revenue can be by increasing sales by 5%. It can be also by doing advance booking for my upcoming holiday event. So how am I going to do that? What initiative I'm going to take for that? What is the maybe third KR is increasing average check size by 5% to 5.75. So maybe currently my minimum check is like average check price is around say $4 or $5. I want to get it to 5.75. So how can I do that? So one of the area I feel that it can be comfortably done is by increasing the coffee price. So that's the initiative that I'm going to take. So these are some of the examples that tell you how you're going to carry out, define objective. What are the key areas or key results that you feel will enable you to ensure that you are moving in that direction of that objective? And then you are going to define initiatives associated with those key results to achieve those key results so that you can achieve your main objective. So look at the second one, which is like, because of the COVID scenario, many restaurants had to change their order mechanism, like, in person, instead of people coming into the restaurants, they were ordering online. So they had to move their entire business model. So how are they going to do that? So maybe these are some of the key results, adapt to the online ordering culture. That's the objective. So, okay, how are you going to do that? So maybe I should be prepared as a restaurant to order or cater 50% of my orders coming from online. Earlier, maybe that percentage was 10% or 5%. But now I need to change the mechanism, change my processes, right? So how am I going to do that? So need to be maybe doing more social media marketing, maybe improve the website. I need to also have cleanliness and, create a proper, well-defined pickup process, so that like a lot of people are going to come and do the pickups, so that entire process works without any hassles. So what are the initiatives I need to take for that? How am I going to maintain the sanitation and cleanliness for the restaurant to run in this pandemic scenario? So those are some of the objectives and key results I need to monitor or define, and then define the initiatives associated with those. So that's the idea about how you go on building or converting your business model from from the document or the model that you have created on a one-page model canvas into the actionable items. And if you divide this in this structure, so you have a strategy. From strategy, you create objectives. So your strategy could be, I want to grow at whatever, I want to grow faster. I want to grow my business, scale up my business. So how are you going to do that? Maybe one is you're going to increase your sales. Another thing could be, I want to reduce my cost and increase the profit margin. So all those things you will define as your objectives. You will define associated key results. And then for those key results, then you are going to define your initiatives. And once you do that and carry out the operation and you implement the new process which comes out of that, those activities and objectives, implement is as your day-to-day operations, then you monitor that process with your KPIs to ensure that process is running properly and efficiently that you have created. So that's the high-level concept about using this management by objective, MBO, using OKR method. So I hope this was useful. These are some of my contact details. And Jane, I guess that's for the presentation.
Okay, Raj, thank you very much. That's a lot of information to absorb, but thank you very much. And so we'll send a presentation out so you can use it as a reference. We'll have it up on our website so you can listen to it again. And you can contact us to do some mentoring so that we could help you take your business plan and convert it into an action plan so that you can execute your business step by step. And so that it would be a good idea to come and get a mentor. Does anybody have any questions for Raj? I don't see any questions in the chat, but we're certainly open to questions. Anybody? How many? I'm curious of how many people on the webinar today have actually prepared a pretty solid business plan. You could just raise your hand if you have prepared a business plan. Are you at the point where you have a solid business plan like the things that Raj was talking about, that you're even ready to execute? I think some people, I don't see any hands raising, so I don't know if people have their business plans or not. But clearly the first step in this whole process is to start working on a business plan. And again, Score Mentor can help you with that as well. Okay, we're pretty much at the end of our time. If you do not have a question, that's fine. Come see us, work with us. We'd love to answer your questions. We'd love to work with you. And take a look at Raj's presentation, think about it, and then maybe get in touch with us. And let us know how you're doing. Raj, thank you. Thank you again. You can also get in touch directly with Raj. He has his contact information there. So if you have a question for him that you'd like to email him, that's fine.
I think, Jen, there is a question from somebody, Swati, related to whether can this concept be used in a nonprofit in the chat.
Oh,
yeah, definitely it can be used in nonprofit, because nonprofit also, obviously you have your strategy, you have your objectives, and it's same concept. I mean, it can be even used in your personal life. Many people use that even your instead of setting like your annual goals. There are actually write-ups available how to use OKR for your personal goals. So yes, definitely it can be used.